Hello everyone, welcome to Cyberscoop TV. Greg Otto, your managing editor here. We're at the Andrew Mellon Auditorium for CyberTalks, and I'm talking with Leonard Bailey, the Special Counsel for National Security at the Department of Justice. Leonard, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
So you specialize in the CFAA, and I am wondering, with all of the breaches and cases around CAA, it's been a hallmark year for cybersecurity in 2017. What can we do to sort of change the message and move things forward in 2018?
You know, unfortunately, data breaches, ransomware attacks, denial of service attacks are really just a reality of today's internet. Cybersecurity is this complicated, distributed problem, and there's no specific capability or process or action you can take that's going to ensure that you are not going to be the victim or fall prey to one of these incidents. All that said, and considering there's no silver bullet, there are answers. We know that there are security measures that people can take, and unfortunately, some organizations fall down on these things. So let me just talk about this very quickly.
Okay.
For example, there are security measures that can be taken, and these are all basic, routine, common things like, proper segmentation of networks, threat detection, having proper access controls. And one thing we like to flag a lot is timely patch management. The reason why we flag that is investigators far too often will arrive at the scene of a breach and discover that it's an incident that could have been prevented with a timely patch. We talk a lot about zero-day exploits these days, and the truth is most incidents don't require a zero-day. Timely patching would have prevented them. There are other very basic things that companies can do but sometimes fall down on, things like being good consumers of information. So what I mean by that is there are a variety of ways in which companies can and should be getting information about threats and vulnerabilities and using them. And again, this is where investigators may arrive at the scene, see what has happened, and these are tactics and tools that have been used elsewhere. We know that most criminals work in wholesale, not retail. And with a little bit of information, this company might have been able to prevent the incident from happening. And so, by doing things like working with their ISACs, information sharing and analysis centers, thank you, very, very long name, or joining groups like FBI's InfoGuard or Secret Service's Electronic Crimes Task Force, they can get information about threats and gird themselves. They can make sure their employees are better at detecting threats. And one thing that we like to mention that sounds somewhat parochial, but we think it's underemphasized that there is a real benefit to working cooperatively with law enforcement. When we investigate and apprehend a cyber threat actor or otherwise disrupt a cyber threat, we are doing something that basically none of these other measures will do, and that's actually removing the cyber threat.
So another thing that goes into this is the human element, and we've heard so much about a cybersecurity workforce shortage. So from your unique perspective, I would love to hear what we can do to get more people involved in cybersecurity.
Yeah, so this is unfortunately a little bit outside of my expertise. I mean, it's not surprising that when you have a limited pool of skilled individuals and the market vying for them, there will be challenges, and the government particularly will be challenged because of certain caps on salaries.
Right.
That said, I can only say that the government is looking, I guess, long term. As I understand it, there are lots of efforts, including something called the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education, that is producing things like a framework that was released in August.
Right.
It's a framework for cybersecurity workforce development. And these are the sorts of long-range efforts, the framework being used to do things like define and categorize cybersecurity jobs so that organizations can use it to train, develop, build out what is cyber expertise around what is currently still kind of a nebulous field. And so those efforts, I think, will help mature cybersecurity expertise into something that we know of as cybersecurity professionals.
Great. So one final question. So much of what we deal with in cybersecurity is negative. What is something positive going on right now that you think hasn't gotten its just due?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, it is our view, by and large, that you kind of can't have a reasonable cybersecurity practice strategy that doesn't incorporate law enforcement's capability to address threats. And as you said, there are many negative stories. It is getting harder and harder for us to investigate online crime.
Okay.
That said, we have gotten better at a variety of things. So we are more frequently being able to identify, investigate, and apprehend cyber criminals from abroad. We are more successfully dismantling the infrastructure that they're using. I'll give you a couple of examples. Just recently, we've been able to, honing our abilities, working with international partners, identify, apprehend, and gain extradition of international, transnational criminals who are coming from countries like Nigeria, the Netherlands, Germany, Latvia. And so our reach is extended. We're able to reach people. In addition, we are dismantling infrastructure like botnets. So since starting in 2011 with the Coreflood botnet, we've been dismantling botnets year after year to the point where we are probably responsible for freeing tens of millions of computers from the throes of a botnet that was controlling them. We are also dismantling sort of darknet marketplaces that are being used for all sorts of illegal activities, from obtaining illegal hacker services to obtaining counterfeit documents to obtaining illegal firearms. And this is also a story in international cooperation. In cases like the dark code market, which was a sort of a illegal hackers bazaar, we managed to arrest, search, and charge individuals in 20 countries, 70 individuals, and that sort of coordination internationally is amazing. So, in sum, criminals are getting cagier, they're getting wilier. I would say, though, the good news is that we are getting more adept and adaptable. We're using new tools and new approaches, and we're using them effectively.
Great. Leonard, appreciate your insight.
Sure.
Appreciate you speaking with us today.
Thank you, Greg.
For all of our videos, check out our YouTube channel, and for more information on cybersecurity, check out cyberscoop.com. I'm Greg Otto. Thanks for watching.